Don't show this to anybody. Please don't show this to anybody. Greg was sick. He couldn't do the Zoom. He didn't feel good. Well, JoAnne was the one that came to me with the idea, which I really loved. And earlier on in the late 70s, I kind of did work similar to this. I would paint like a Picasso on top of a Cézanne, kind of appropriation, because I was looking for cultural images all the time that were around me that I was looking at, and I would just start painting them. And so this was a nice place to revisit and work on stuff that I wanted to do. And it was just kind of an interesting thing, and I really liked it because I could add stuff to it, my collage aspect, that I never did before.
Well, you were very true to the original compositions. For this show, you did Picasso, Monet, and Da Vinci, but you also added in your own elements. So how do you balance the integrity of the originals with your own stylistic choices?
So, I kind of think first that I'm, in an ironic sort of way, I'm kind of like a contemporary cave painter and an archaeologist. So I first have to take things from our culture or my surroundings, and I sort of repaint them. So I can sort of dig into them and just kind of experiment on top. And then what I do after that is I'll come back in and tell a different story that's layered on top. The story usually is kind of a romantic story, and it's got love and sex and politics, and it's all found typography and things that I've collected over the years that go on top of the painting. And then I sort of sand back into it, but at first I want to paint it exactly like the way it is. I almost have to do that, right? Because instead of me just going out and finding a poster and gluing it on canvas, I want to paint the whole thing realistically. So it looks like it's been painted. It is painted. A big part of, I think, what I was thinking about too is that this is an old beatnik cowboy told me one time, and I wrote this down. He said, you keep one foot on the gas and one foot on the past. And so that's kind of how I work a little bit. Like I'm always take things from the past, part of our culture. Instead of inventing things, my own work, I take things and then I repaint them and then change them and alter them in my own way. But I draw from that because I want to tell different stories all the time, but the stories have already been told. It's like Shakespeare did Romeo and Juliet, then they did West Side Story. So I'll do Picasso, or I'll do Manet's Olympia, and then I'll change it to make it the way I want to do it. But I start from that reference point. And I like the idea that they're hand painted and they're not just big sea prints. They're actually, I really like the Manet painting, that one. I don't know if that one, that's the one, I love that one too. I think it's the biggest one.
Yeah.
Mona Lisa is a big responsibility to paint Mona Lisa, right? I'm like, oh my God, I'm painting Mona Lisa. And then put all this stuff on top, which is interesting and fun to do. Not fun, but it's just, I enjoy doing it. I want to change it a little bit for her, give her a pirate's patch and a a few things like that.
With respect to Mona Lisa, you put books inside this piece, right? There's book bindings?
Yes. On Mona Lisa, what I did was I can't really see. I took a bunch of books and glued down the covers and built this texture, this foundation, which I kind of do a lot with my work. And these particular ones didn't have resin on them. I just wanted to have them open more so you could see the techniques and painterly aspect to them. Where when I pour surfboard resin on it, it sort of covers it up and you can't see it.
Yeah, so I think, people really enjoy the collage elements in your work. And I guess we're curious, how spontaneous are the additions of collage elements that you put in?
They are spontaneous. I collect these things, like I'll cut up words that have to do with nature, words that have to do with sex, words that have to do with politics, words that have to do with time. And they're kind of found, and they're all from different magazines dating from the 50s up to the present time. So, and the words from advertising and just words from letterheads and stuff that are in books and things. I just sort of lay them out and I just sort of start spontaneously putting them on. There's a little bit of organization on it, a little bit, but most of the time it just takes its own course.
It kind of reminds me of a little bit of like the Dada movement.
It does a little bit. It is that, and coming out of Northern California when I started working in the mid '60s, a lot of beatniks were my teachers. And so
Yeah.
they were always about, when you had a painting class, we would just go sit in a bar and talk about other things, not about painting, right?
Right.
They didn't tell me how to wash a brush out, and if you
Right.
mix blue and yellow, you might get green. There was none of that.
Yeah.
I had to learn to paint on my own, like, which was kind of nice because I didn't know you could do that. I like that aspect of painting and working, because I really want to capture the time I live in. And like I said, I'm like a cave painter. I want to tell the story of my tribe, which is all you guys and whoever wants to listen and whoever comes and looks at my work, which is, I'm really grateful that people come and look at my work. So, but I want to tell the story of our time. And I don't know how good the story is going to be. I always tell JoAnne that. I never know how good it's going to be, but I'm trying my best to tell this story. I also, with the women, I want to make them like heroes too, even though they sometimes look a little sexy. That's why I picked the portraits of the women, even for Picasso. There's a reason why I picked portraits of women, because I want to portray them as heroes.
So Greg, for these particular pieces, what do you want the takeaway to be? What do you want viewers to feel when they look at them?
To think about the past when they see these historical paintings, kind of from Renaissance, Impressionism, and Cubism. I also picked ones for a reason. You know, Cubism was a part, and you've got, so I want the takeaway is that they look at a little bit of the history of our life and everything, and then there's all this kind of interesting contemporary dialogue on top.
Well, I think there's kind of a sense of familiarity, because these pieces are pieces that people have seen, you know, throughout history, and
Right.
to see your contemporary unique take on it.
Right, and I also come out of this California, I hate to, surf skateboard culture that was kind of my background for years, but, nobody cares, but that's kind of where I came out of. And I just sort of this post-pop art guy. So I have to kind of paint true to myself. I can't do these big installations, and that's not who I am really. I'm just really this post-pop painter.
You redevelop the story of all these pieces and you make them relatable for people who are living today. And
Right.
So they really have a connection to a historical piece that's now in the
Right.
present for them. So
Absolutely. And also there's an academic aspect to it. Each art movements come, right? You've got abstract expressionism, and you've got pop, and before that you had surrealism and Dadaism. And so there's a little bit of the art, the movements that are kind of in the back of my brain too, a little bit. And sometimes it just unfolds naturally. I just have to live with it and let it be. I think it's going to be a great show. I'm real excited to be a part of it, and I think it's awesome. It's right down my alley, so to speak.
You're right down our alley.
Yeah. So thanks for everything, you guys. I'll talk to you later. All right, you guys. Love you guys. Thank you.